Gordon Ramsay has saved dozens of restaurants, but not everyone listened. Some owners threw his advice out the window the moment he left. From Sandra D's barbecue to Sebastian's, here's what happened to the restaurants that ignored Gordon Ramsay's advice, starting with Amy's Baking Company. Before Ramsay showed up, restaurant owners Amy and Sammy were already notorious for arguing with customers and critics. Their behavior had once led to a bad review, and their business never fully recovered from it.
Approximately 2 years ago, these reviewers and these bloggers decided to make up lies and say that they ate the food and it was disgusting.
When Gordon pointed out problems with the restaurant, including the food, you'd think that would have been enough to cause some quick changes. But Amy wouldn't hear it and kept insisting her food was perfectly fine.
These are store-bought crap frozen ravioli.
They're not crap, and they're delicious, and the first time I've ever...
Oh my God.
Did you taste it? You didn't taste that one.
I didn't, because you didn't get the feedback. I said they were disgusting.
The next day, when Gordon tried to talk things out and find some common ground, things only got worse.
Look at the way.
You're attacking my business and my life. This is all I do is live this life every day. You're not telling me the problems. You are saying I'm delusional, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this.
When advice only met anger, Ramsay decided further work would be useless, and he left the project unfinished for the first time in the show's history.
You have the right to run the business the way you want to run your business. I have the right to do the right thing. And the right thing for me is to get out of here. Good luck.
After the episode aired, it gained massive attention online, and it only exposed even more problems. Sammy and Amy fired back at critics with heated posts, hurling insults at everyone who complained, writing things like, "We will not bend to the will of these haters and sinners," and "I'm not stupid, all of you are." To save face, they later claimed their social media accounts had been hacked, insisting that the outbursts weren't really them. Soon after, people started digging and discovered that Sammy had a criminal record overseas, which brought immigration scrutiny and legal trouble. It was during the court cases that Amy's own hidden past came to light. Meanwhile, they did everything they could to save the restaurant, but their reputation kept getting worse and customers stopped coming. Eventually, the company confirmed that they were suspending operations in 2015. Sammy was eventually deported to Israel in 2018, and the couple tried to start a new life together there. But after years of stress and fallout, Amy filed for divorce in April 2022, and she later returned to the United States and now shares baking videos on Instagram. Amy's meltdown might have been unforgettable, but Ramsay's next visit proved that strong personalities weren't the only problem he had to deal with. Sandra D's barbecue and seafood had once been a local favorite, but over time, the spark faded. The kitchen had started relying on shortcuts and canned ingredients, which left the food bland. And when Ramsay arrived to inspect the kitchen, he saw how messy it was, with food poorly stored and hygiene completely ignored.
This was cleaned.
Last week?
Last week? Oh. What is that?
Oil.
Oil.
That's oil.
Smell that. That's gone.
Yeah, that's not good.
Did you use that today?
Yeah, I think we did, yeah.
Oh my God. Gilled blood. It is stinking. And what's this thing?
A chicken that...
Come on, guys.
The owner, Sandra D. Johnson, was very aggressive, and that was one of the main issues Ramsay noticed right away. The staff complained about it, but Sandra refused to listen.
I sometimes feel like maybe we need to just start the over, everybody get the out. That's what I am right now. If y'all ain't got my back, then I ain't got y'all back. Period.
Ramsay spent the entire night overhauling everything. He and his team repaired what they could, cleaned the whole place from top to bottom, and by the end, it looked better than ever. He also revamped the menu and gave the kitchen staff some much-needed training.
Experts are here to help one-on-one, and we're going to absolutely master this menu.
It should have been a turning point, but by the end of the episode, Ramsay revealed some shocking details.
We reached out to Sandra D's, but sadly received no response. That although Sandra has kept the new renovation, she has gone back to her old menu.
One Yelp review confirmed that nothing had really changed. It read, "Still the same sad Sandra from before. Same rude staff up front. Same nasty tea. Same bland food. Same cafeteria mac and cheese." Soon after, Sandra admitted to discarding Ramsay's changes. In a 2018 interview, she told the Sacramento Bee, "My customers don't want me to change the menu. As to changing to his menu, I will not be doing that. I'm Creole and I don't know how to cook without spice." Once customers realized the food and service hadn't changed, the reviews went downhill. People said the ribs were dry, the beans tasted canned, and the staff still had an attitude. One customer ended a long review about their terrible experience by writing, "Bad service, mediocre food, not worth the time, money, or effort." Competition in Sacramento grew stronger and newer barbecue spots took Sandra's old customers. One customer on Reddit pointed out how the restaurant's attitude no longer matched the growing competition. They said, "It just seemed like morale at the place was low. You can get away with it when you're the only barbecue spot in town, but now not so much since they're everywhere." Just a year after the episode aired, Sandra announced that the restaurant was shutting down. She posted a statement on her Facebook page saying, "Our last official day will be on July 20th, 2019. She then turned to catering full-time and kept the same name for that business. And Sandra still tries to keep the brand alive, but a restaurant that once filled a whole block with the smell of barbecue now sits empty. If Sandra's story showed how pride can keep a restaurant from moving forward, the next one reveals what happens when doubt and insecurity slowly pull it apart. The Seascape Inn in Islip, New York was a long-standing family restaurant that had fallen on hard times by the time Ramsay arrived. Owned by Irene and her son Peter, the place was deep in debt and in desperate need of help.
The rug is being pulled out from under me, and I got to do something about it.
I need $800 to $1 million to save the Seascape.
When Ramsay did his inspection, he couldn't believe how filthy the kitchen was or how badly the food had gone bad.
This is disgusting.
Look at that.
You didn't see that?
One major thing Ramsay focused on was boosting Peter's confidence. Often seen as too soft and lacking leadership, he needed to toughen up to run the restaurant effectively.
Or whether you wake up, get a grip, and be the boss.
And when Ramsay eventually gave the restaurant a complete makeover, its classic charm was restored. Then he brought in a new chef to help bring consistency back to the kitchen. It finally seemed like the restaurant had found its footing. The kitchen was clean, the food was fresh, and for the first time in years, the place was full of happy customers. Peter promised to take charge and keep the restaurant on track, but that didn't last long. He eventually realized he wasn't cut out for the business and took what seemed like his only way out, which was revealed at the end of the episode.
Even though Gordon successfully restored the Seascape to its former glory, Peter accepted an offer that he couldn't refuse and sold the restaurant.
The old Seascape building didn't stay empty for long. It was sold again and turned into J&R's Islip Steakhouse, a place with a completely different look and crowd. The red walls and wood trim from Ramsay's renovation have since been replaced with a completely new look. There isn't much known about Peter or his mother today. The only clear thing is that the Seascape name is gone. Ramsay moved on once again, this time to a business that seemed full of promise but was already weighed down by old habits and debt. When this episode of Kitchen Nightmares aired in March 2010, Mama Rita's restaurant was packed with customers, thanks to Ramsay's intervention. Reviews from that period showed that his changes were making a real difference. One Yelp user wrote, "Gordon worked hard to get this place back on track, and from our visit, it looks to have paid off." The owner, Laura, seemed to be getting a fresh start, but that short burst of success couldn't fix the deeper problems lurking beneath. On the show, Ramsay had introduced a new menu, but the restaurant's head chef, Perla, struggled to keep up.
Perla, I need you to step up the mark now, please. You need to take control.
Perla, listen to me, please. Let's get 34 out, or whatever that is. I need set me up for the fish. Set me up the plate so I can just put the fish on there, please.
Is slowly sinking.
Perla, we need to get organized. This is not working.
After a rough night of service filled with kitchen problems, Ramsay had to sit Laura down and tell her the hard truth.
That is not head chef material. We're not looking for a super duper fine dining chef. I'm just looking for a cook that can cook from fucking start to finish.
He saw that Perla wasn't ready to lead a kitchen that needed rebuilding from the ground up. Laura agreed at the time and even reassigned her to focus on catering, which was the part of the business that had once made her successful.
Moving forward now, there's definitely going to be a split between my catering and the restaurant. They are going to be two different businesses.
But not long after Ramsay left, Laura put Perla back in charge of the kitchen. In an interview with the Ventura County Star, Laura explained that Perla had undergone extra training and said, "Perla now rules that kitchen with an iron fist." However, that decision slowly pulled the restaurant back into the same old pattern of frozen food, weak leadership, and dishes that didn't match what Ramsay had taught them. Reviews soon appeared online saying things like, "My enchilada sauce tasted like it came out of a can," and "My burrito came out cold and had to have it remade." Then there was debt hanging over Laura's head, which didn't help either. Nearly $2 million in costs and loans had built up, and even full tables couldn't fix that. By December 2010, less than 2 years after Ramsay's visit, Mama Rita's shut its doors for good. People online began pointing to Laura's decision to keep Perla as head chef as one of the main reasons the restaurant failed. One comment pointed out, "Perla had no business being a head chef, and Laura did not have the business sense to make the right moves." Another added, "Even though it was hard to come back from being down almost $2 million, the decision to keep Perla on as head chef definitely ensured the demise of Mama Rita's Mexican Cantina." After the restaurant closed, the building was taken over by a new restaurant called The Local Table. Laura, however, didn't give up on the food business entirely. She went back to catering, which is what she knew best. It worked for a while, and she eventually managed another spot called Mission Oaks Cafe. Replying to a comment online from someone who thought she owned the cafe, Laura clarified, "I don't own Mission Oaks Cafe. I worked there. It closed years after I left. I was able to help the owners and start a catering department as well. They were later able to sell the restaurant after I left." These days, Laura manages the catering at the Thousand Oaks Inn and, according to her Instagram, also performs stand-up comedy on the side. Ramsay had given Mama Rita's a lifeline, but Laura pulled it right back under. His next challenge, however, involved owners who weren't stubborn or reckless, just afraid of change. Fleming started as a busy Danish spot that people fought to get into. The owners, Andy and Suzanne, kept everything the same because they feared losing regulars, and that fear stopped them from trying new things. But that hesitation backfired, which led to a shrinking customer base, putting the restaurant deep into debt.
The huge amount of debt that we're under right now, it puts a strain on the restaurant, it puts a strain on the relationship I have with employees, it puts a strain on my relationship at home with Suzanne.
When Gordon stepped in, one of the first things he did was give the place a fresh new look. He also introduced a modern menu with desserts that were a lot different from before. That change brought in new customers and a brief surge of hope, proving that a few updates could actually make a difference. But the regulars pushed back, insisting they wanted the old dishes back, so the owners gave in to avoid more complaints. And he himself said, "We ran with the menu for about 2 months and quickly found out that our clients still wanted many of the traditional favorites." But that decision pulled the restaurant away from the new path and pushed it back towards the old menu and old habits. As the menu shifted back, younger diners stopped coming. The continued focus on pleasing the older crowd meant that the restaurant never built a new following, and that failure to attract fresh business made the debt worse and the cash flow tighter. With money problems mounting and no steady rise in customers, selling the place became the only sensible move. The restaurant eventually closed in 2010, only a few months after the episode aired. One comment online said that the owner likely bent over for the consistent old patrons, not willing to sacrifice for more benefits down the line, eventually leading to the failure of the revamped restaurant. The building later changed hands, and the space where Fleming was located became a gym franchise called Orange Theory Fitness Pinecrest. The owners of Fleming may have held on to the past too tightly, But the next entry on this list barely understood what they were holding at all. Casa Roma had a long run, but the real trouble began after Nyla and her son, who had no restaurant experience, bought the place and tried to keep a bar running as a dining room.
2.5 years ago, I was in real estate, and I was sitting around looking at business opportunities, and I found Casa Roma. I talked my oldest son into getting in with me, and had we had known the restaurant business very well, we probably wouldn't have done it.
Me and my mom thought we were buying a restaurant with a bar attached to it.
You guys want to sit in the dining room, or are you going to go in the bar? Okay.
But really, it just was a bar with a restaurant attached to it.
This meant sloppy operations, and to make matters worse, the kitchen was in horrible condition.
Jesus Christ almighty. Oh, God.
The first thing Gordon focused on was making sure they cleaned the place up.
Before I go any further, I want the fucking place clean.
Then he did what he does best, transforming the restaurant for the better with a much improved decor. Gordon also introduced a simple pizza menu that both the staff and owners agreed was a huge improvement.
I mean, I like this one.
Mm-hmm. Good. Jeremy, take one as well. Yeah.
It all seemed like a clear path forward, but as you might have guessed, the changes didn't last. When Ramsay visited a year later, he found out that the restaurant chef, Drew, had already left, and even Laura's son was no longer working there.
Drew.
He's no longer with us. I love my son to death. You know, I love all my kids, but we just couldn't work together.
Everything seemed fine at first, but not long after that second visit, the restaurant scrapped Ramsay's menu and went back to their old ones. Yelp reviews soon worsened, with one saying, "Since Gordon Ramsay gave them a boost, decided to try spaghetti and meatballs. What a mistake." After waiting over half an hour, it finally arrived. The meatballs were dry and lacking any traditional Italian flavor. Looked like they were previously frozen. Business eventually went downhill, and Nyla decided to take a different route by selling part of the business due to family health issues. She then renamed the place CR Roadhouse with a Mexican focus, and each change moved the business farther from the clear, focused idea Gordon had put in place. But a continuous drop in customers made the business unsustainable, so Nyla announced to close the restaurant on the 1st of July 2017. The building later became an entertainment venue called Garibaldi around 2022. If Casa Roma showed how abandoning Ramsay's plan can lead to disaster, the next case proved that sometimes doing the exact same thing has a completely different outcome. Diwan had been a town staple for decades, but by the time Gordon arrived, the place was bleeding customers in cash.
In our heyday, Diwan was very vibrant. I mean, it was the place to be seen, and the line would go out into the parking lot. To keep Diwan afloat, we have dipped into our retirement savings.
Since COVID, we put in about $100,000 a year.
The owners, Bobby and Margaret, were desperate and had been trying risky ideas, which only caused more confusion and didn't help at all. Ramsay came in, and after inspecting the state of the restaurant, he made his message clear.
Just for your own sanity, so we can focus on running an authentic Indian restaurant.
Soon after, Ramsay had his team revamp the restaurant with much better decor.
Wow, it's just beautiful.
Gone is the mixed messaging from the previous restaurant ideas. They've been replaced with authentic Indian vibrancy.
As soon as you enter the restaurant, it talks to you. Welcome to Indian restaurant. This is a beautiful change that has come our way.
Amazing. Yeah, I did not imagine to have such a warm, inviting Indian feel.
You're done.
Next came a complete menu upgrade that was simpler, fresher, and gave the restaurant a new focus. All the changes paid off as the service ran smoothly, and customers quickly noticed the fresher food and more welcoming atmosphere. But before Ramsay left, he gave one final warning.
Back of these older restaurant concepts, honestly, who knows what Diwan might become.
For a while, it seemed like the new plan was working, but almost immediately after the crew left, Bobby went back to the old menu. This was confirmed in a Reddit post where a regular said, "I went to Diwan 2 weeks after Gordon left and found that they returned to the old menu." Bobby claimed that his return customers weren't loving Gordon's recipes and were requesting old favorites. This quick reversal sent mixed signals to diners, but surprisingly, things still worked out for the restaurant. It remains open to this day with a 4.1 star rating on Yelp. Recent reviews still say things like, "Food was delicious, service was quick, beautiful restaurant." Others wrote, "Great food here, great atmosphere and roomy seating. We keep coming back and are never disappointed." In the end, some people even started saying Ramsay was being too picky about their menu. One Redditor commented, "Genuinely not surprised they went back to their old menu. Gordon seemed to be the only one having issues with how the food was made and tasted, but the other patrons were happily digging in." Another added, "I was so annoyed at Gordon acting all hoity-toity about Indian fusion. Indian fusion's all the rage right now, and it's delicious." Ultimately, it seems not following Ramsay's advice actually paid off this time for this restaurant, but the next stop would remind everyone that most aren't that lucky. The Secret Garden, located in Moore Park, California, was a French restaurant owned by Michel Bar-David. The restaurant wasn't bringing in much money, and Michel was struggling under heavy debt.
I have about $300,000 to $320,000 in debt. That's a lot of money to pay back.
To make matters worse, the kitchen was in terrible condition.
The maggots. Oh, God.
And when Ramsay called Michel out on these, all he did was get defensive.
Perfect? Even in your kitchen? I don't think so.
It's f***ing clean.
What do you mean?
This guy with the attitude that has no idea what's going on insults me, tells me that he doesn't have to, his restaurant.
Michel eventually came around, and Ramsay went on to teach the staff a new menu that would turn the restaurant around.
They're the 4 specials: onion gratin, tuna niçoise, roasted chicken, and a fresh, local asparagus warm tart.
But even then, later in the show, Ramsay and Michel got into a serious argument.
You're a donkey.
My food been voted best chef in Ventura County.
What?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Don't push the finger.
Put your hands up here. Listen to me. You run a shithole of a kitchen. F*** yourself.
No.
Okay?
No.
F*** off. Who the f*** are you to turn around and tell me when you work like a pig? You French pig!
Michel was already set on going back to his old ways and old menu, leaving Ramsay with no choice but to walk away for a while. By the end of the show, Michel seemed pleased with the changes.
It was a very stressful few days, but I think we all survived. I think it's all for the better.
But the real question was whether he would commit to them. It turns out the Secret Garden eventually began to fall apart because Michel went back to his old menu. Reviews soon showed how bad things had gotten. One said, "Worst restaurant in Ventura County. Service was slow, food tasted like it was dirty. Gordon Ramsay couldn't help this dump. Be smart and avoid it." Another wrote, "The food was terrible and took forever to get. The standards were so low I thought I was at Taco Bell. We'll never go back to this shithole." More reviews read, "It's amazing to me that anyone would dine here and think it was good. The portrayal from the show is not only accurate, it is spot on." Even as fewer customers came in, Michel stuck to the same menu, which only hurt the restaurant's reputation more. Before long, business slowed down, making it harder to pay bills and keep reliable staff. As the losses kept piling up, Michel looked for a way out and decided to sell the restaurant in 2015. The old Secret Garden location in California was eventually turned into a new restaurant called M on High Street. The new restaurant there remains open to this day and even boasts much stronger ratings online. The Secret Garden fell because of one man's refusal to evolve. The next one fell because despite trying to evolve, it just couldn't hold on. Restaurant owners Mark and Lisa opened this beachside spot, which made good money during the summer, but lost it all in the winter.
Our summer business is not enough to carry the other 7 months. Once October hits, it drops off to almost 10% of your summer business, so we're behind, constantly behind.
Customers constantly complained about the food, and many even sent their orders back to the kitchen.
How is everything? Is there something wrong? Overcooked, a little too well done.
This is like all dough and no filling.
I can send it back.
I don't like it. It tastes terrible.
Oh no.
Can I have an order of chicken tenders because they don't like their chicken parm, please?
But it wasn't just that. The kitchen was in terrible shape, and Ramsay had to give Mark a serious wake-up call.
What a mess. So there's one thing you're going to have to learn. Get cleaning, Mark. You've got no idea.
Mark never received proper culinary training, but finally got the chance to learn directly from Ramsay.
I've never had this kind of guidance from a Michelin-rated chef ever. And just the chance to learn from Chef Ramsay, it's a very special deal.
Then Ramsay and his team stepped in and transformed the restaurant's decor, giving the place a true fresh start.
Gone is that hideous tiki bar theme and that ridiculous wall covering. You've got the walls painted blue and white, resembling the water.
At first, the plan worked, which proved the business could change and survive the slow months. But not long after the show ended, the staff began pushing back, and some regulars complained that the new look felt too fancy.
Pretty upset about the whole situation. I think the look is a terrible change.
This made Mark and Lisa question the long-term plan and eventually returned to their old menu. Reviewers soon picked up on the decline, and the restaurant's reputation started to drop. One person on Yelp said, "I'm noticing a disappointing trend at Barefoot Bob's lately, one that mimics their pre-kitchen nightmare days. What was once one of my favorite go-to spots for comfort food and Nantasket Beach has now become an avoid-at-all-cost establishment." Another wrote, "My fiance and I were really excited to try Barefoot Bob's because we'd seen it on Kitchen Nightmares a little while ago. We drove an hour and a half, not realizing they hadn't kept up with Ramsay's improvements." Bringing back the old vibe caused the restaurant to lose the new customers they had just gained, and the buzz quickly faded away. With fewer customers, cash flow got tighter, and things kept getting worse. Reviews dropped to 2.3 stars on Yelp, and before long, they were facing empty nights. The restaurant eventually closed for good in December 2016, just 4 years after its Kitchen Nightmares episode first aired in 2012. After the closure, the building kept changing hands. New places tried the spot, but some failed, and by 2023, a restaurant called Tipsy Tuna started operating there. Barefoot Bob may have been about overwhelming circumstances, but the next story was about a family consumed by control and how quickly that can tear everything apart. Alan and Jen opened the burger kitchen with big ideas, but with money that did not belong to them. Alan used his son Daniel's inheritance to fund the restaurant, a decision that didn't sit well with Daniel at all.
I was kind of dragged into this. I got a sizable inheritance from my grandfather. There was money in a trust account, and my dad took $250,000 of my money to put it into this restaurant.
Inside the kitchen, it was pure chaos. Things never settled into a steady routine, which led to constant mistakes and arguments.
David, I'll handle this, and then you can come back and expedite, okay?
You can't expedite nothing.
Thank you. Is he doing a natural for 44?
Yes, he is doing a natural for 44.
Table 11 still does not have their sides.
It's coming. It's all coming. I've told Ricardo to make it on the fly. I know.
To help Alan see what needed to change, Ramsay invited local Yelpers to meet with him in person.
I absolutely detest what's served at your restaurant.
I'm not like an avid Yelper. In fact, I created the account just to comment on your place because that burger was so disappointing.
In the end, it was a big poo smear of a horrible experience.
Although Alan resisted at first, he eventually promised to make improvements.
Chef Ramsay, maybe I'm obsessed and I'm wrong. And I appreciate it enormously because I hope we can learn from this and improve.
Ramsay went on to teach the staff to drop the frozen ingredients and start making fresh blends, showing them a better way to cook their burgers that really made a difference.
And the nice, exciting thing about these burgers, it's freshly ground meat. 15% fat, so they're full of flavour. Something your frozen burgers were lacking.
The new blend of the special burger with Chef Ramsay's touch. That's very nice. It's a pretty fabulous burger.
This is amazing.
After a much-needed makeover and improved menu, new customers started pouring in.
Unbelievable. Now we have pop art. They're hip, they're cool, and they're very trendy.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to Burger Kitchen.
Thank you for coming. Brand new redesign, new menu. I'm sure you'll have a great time.
Alan even promised to hand over all business responsibilities to Daniel.
Danny is in charge. I am passing the reign 100%.
Everything seemed to be going great, but soon after the cameras left, the owners slowly slipped back into their old habits, and the new menu disappeared within a few weeks. This became clear in online reviews where many pointed out that the food was nothing like Ramsay had helped them improve. One Yelper started their review by saying, "As other reviewers who had just seen the Kitchen Nightmares episode, I happened to be in LA and just had to try this place for the curiosity factor if nothing else." But after a long wait for their order, they added, The burger patty was unseasoned and stone cold. I could not cut through the bottom bun, and the fries were grease-laden and burnt. Gordon Ramsay should have just let this place die a slow, painful death, just like the service tonight. Another review read, "The meat was flavorless. They overcooked a medium rare burger to medium well. There were 2 elephant garlic cloves just stuck inside the burger. I guess they didn't follow Gordon's advice or recipe changes." The loss of consistency quickly caused business to dry up, making it harder to pay the bills. Money problems got worse as revenue kept falling while the debt stayed the same. Soon enough, the Burger Kitchen shut down in February 2012, just months after the episode aired, as the restaurant couldn't find a steady footing. The location later hosted several other restaurants that also failed, and by 2023, the space ran as a Greek restaurant called Thea. Meanwhile, Alan Saffron passed away in 2020 from a heart attack, surrounded by his family, a chaplain, and medical staff at his final moments. Ramsay had seen owners lose everything because they refused to listen, but what came next pushed that defiance to a whole new level. Sebastian ran a busy pizzeria with an enormous, confusing menu that he believed was one of a kind.
I've created a unique menu that nobody else has.
We have 23 gourmet flavor combinations.
Ramsay was blown away by how poorly supervised the kitchen was and how most of the ingredients were frozen.
It's frozen. And then you deep fry it. And that goes in a burger bun. Is there anything that's ever cooked homemade? Very rare, Luke.
The lack of care and declining food quality left many customers disappointed with their meals, and the restaurant was losing money because of it.
I just took a piece of hair out of my mouth. I was eating the salad.
We got that one coming out. We fucked up this one. This one's on the house.
Food that was comped, there was $300 worth of food comp tonight.
Gordon Ramsay called out Sebastian for how bad the food was and for letting his restaurant fall into such a mess.
What does that taste for you?
It's not great. It's a little dry.
It's cut the fucking end off, squeeze it into the container, and send it.
But Sebastian proved stubborn.
At this point in the game, one of 2 things has to happen. I have to accept what he says and go with it, or ask him to leave.
Eventually, Ramsay introduced a simple plan.
Sebastian's, yes, needs to become known for one thing and one thing only: fresh pizzas. This place can become so popular for homemade, fresh, wood-burning pizza.
Then he had new decorations put in and gave the restaurant a brand new look.
First minute I walked in this space, it was ridiculous. It feels new and fresh, yes?
Ramsay also pushed hard to simplify the menu, and he had it completely revamped.
You have got an amazing chance to succeed here if you keep it simple.
But Sebastian still felt otherwise.
I thought that there'd be more compromise with my menu. I didn't expect it to be just completely gone. I love that menu.
Sebastian didn't even wait for the cameras to stop rolling before taking back control and switching the menu to the old one.
Make me a Primavera. The new menu or the old menu? No, the old menu.
But that only caused more confusion in the kitchen.
Table 3 and this.
Nothing to... It's the same.
Erica, get her. I need that sandwich.
Ramsay had had enough, so he called Sebastian for a quick talk.
I think that you will go back to your sloppy, shortcut, 5 out of 10 frozen ways. Good luck.
Then, Sebastian completely lost it. He started yelling at Ramsay, throwing insults and demanding that the crew stop filming.
We're done. Get the fucking camera out of here. I'm telling you one last time. You're a fucking dickhead.
The next day, Ramsay left, and he didn't seem too hopeful about the restaurant's future.
As I leave Sebastian's, I have a lot of mixed feelings. I really know this restaurant can be a big success, but I also feel Sebastian has very little interest in sticking to the new plan.
Unsurprisingly, Sebastian went back to his old menu after the show, and before long, Sebastian's officially shut down in January 2008, just a few months after the episode aired in November 2007. This showed just how little room there was for a second chance. The building then went through multiple tenants until later, the site was demolished to make way for housing. After the restaurant closed, Sebastian moved on from the food industry and started focusing on on other businesses, leaving the daily kitchen stress behind. He launched a company called New England Tree, which he still runs today. The cooks and servers have all moved on too, and the building that hosted all that drama no longer stands.